afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's Success Sprint. We're going to take 30 minutes to go through a very specific process with your Success website platform. And today we are going to cover remarketing and retargeting. So this is a very important activity for anybody who has a database, which I'm sure you all do. If there's one thing that we're good at, it's collecting names. Generating leads also leads to growing your database, and probably most of you on the call today have a database. Hopefully it is a significant database. Maybe you've got a couple hundred people. Most of you probably have a few thousand. Some of you have tens of thousands. So no matter which category you're in, this is going to apply to you because, as you know, it is tough to convert leads. The online leads that you're generating through Facebook or through Google, they're usually very early in the process, and they have varying levels of intent and urgency when it comes to making a move, selling their home. So it's your job to market to them ongoing. It's not a one and done type situation. So your database is there as an asset for you to communicate with, for you to grow, and for you to market to and sort of mine, right? You're mining your database for those gold nuggets, because one thing that I hear over and over again from my clients is that when you do get a chance to go back and call those older leads that maybe you didn't get a hold of, or you did get a hold of and had a discussion with, how many of them have already gone ahead and bought or sold, right? So that means you had them in your system, you generated that lead, and you followed up, but then they kind of slipped through the cracks. And during that time, they were either contacted by another agent, or they found another agent, or whatever happened, they decided to go elsewhere. And usually that's because you did not do a very good job of remarketing and retargeting that prospect. And there's lots of different ways to do this. So we're going to dig into that. Feel free to enter your questions as we go through the information today. I'm going to put myself on presentation mode just so we're not, I am in a demo account right now, but I don't want to be sharing any emails or our phone numbers during this recording. So that is going to be blurred out. But let's start with a very important first step, and that is categorizing your leads. Now, a lot of you are using ReEngage as your lead generation system, and many of you also have another CRM or another system that you are moving leads into once you start working with them. Raise your hand or let us know in the chat if you fall into that category, because that is often what I hear from some of our members is they say, you know, I use ReEngage, this is where all my leads come in, and I try to convert them, but once I convert them, I move them into another system, and that's where I send out all my paperwork and all the transactional stuff that needs to happen. So that's fine. You know, I don't blame anyone for having multiple systems and using multiple tools. We use multiple tools as well. In fact, I think it's very, very difficult not to do that. But you also have to look at your lead generation platform. In this case, we're looking at ReEngage as also a funnel, sales funnel, which means people are going to be going through the funnel and they're going to be hitting different phases, different stages in that sales process. So the first stage at the top of the funnel is really just awareness, right? All you're trying to do is broaden the awareness level of that person so they know who you are, they know what you have to offer, they know that you are the source of information, right? Because that's often how they're coming into the system. They're requesting information from you. Now, the next stage in that funnel is the consideration stage. And that is in the middle because it can sometimes take time for people to get to that consideration stage. The home buying and selling process can be a long sales cycle. So it could take months for someone to get into that consideration stage where they're now thinking, okay, I need to start looking at homes, or I need to talk to an agent, figure out what my home is worth. So you don't want to miss that, okay? It's very important to stay top of mind during this whole process. So when they are in that consideration phase, they're going to be thinking about you because you're the one who continues to market to them and stay in front of them. And then the last stage at the very bottom of the funnel, that's the decision making, right? That's when you've already had maybe a discussion with them, maybe you've met with them, you've done a presentation, and it's time for them to make a decision. Okay, so a lot of what we're talking about today is going to live and exist within that awareness to consideration phase. So just keep that in mind. So what is very, very important is when you are working in your CRM, that is collecting all of your leads, and that's where you're making your notes, you're tracking your progress. There's a few things that you have to do, okay, in order to effectively retarget your leads, and especially the ones that are likely to consider you when they're in that stage. You have to make notes, you have to mark their status, and you have to set next actions. So I'll show you exactly what I mean by this, okay? I'm going to bring up one of these leads here. Well, actually, better yet, I'm not going to sift and sort and scroll through my leads. I'm going to use my filters. So here in your segments, okay, the segments are at the top. You should have some preset segments that you can easily tap into. So I've got a couple here that I've done for various presentations. But one of the segments that you are probably going to go back to again and again are those leads that you have talked to. Okay, you talk to them. Now you may not have met with them, you may not have been able to convince them to meet you for an appointment, but you did talk to them. So that is under status. The status of the lead is where they are in the funnel. So talk to means they are more in that consideration phase, or at least you have some more information about them. You've had a conversation. It's really hard to know exactly where someone's at in this process without having a conversation. I'm sure you guys would agree. So being able to bring up all the leads that you've talked to is extremely important. Now, if you're not sure of how to mark these leads as talk to leads, it's up here in this area on my screen. Okay, I'm here in the lead record right now, and I've got two areas that I can update. One is the lead type. So here's where you can put in, this is a buyer lead, this is a seller lead, or this is both. In this case, we have both listed. And then we have the status. Okay, that's this area here, talk to lead. Anyone that you've talked to should have this status, because now you can bring up these people and you should have a plan for what you're going to do with them. So you've talked to them. Maybe you didn't book an appointment. Maybe they agreed to receive some information from you, right? Like this call isn't about executing the follow-up script and things like that and what you should say during a call, okay? Hopefully you all have a pretty good idea of how to convert somebody on the phone, or at least qualify them. So based on their answers, you're going to determine, okay, is this person now business? Are they future business? Or is this just like, there's no chance, right? Basically junk, or they, sometimes people will brush you off and it doesn't necessarily mean they're junk. It just means they're maybe in a bad mood, or they're just not ready to talk. Who knows? But make your notes so that you know exactly what transpired during that call. Now, of course, if you're using Stay in Contact, right? If you're using the Stay in Contact app for your communication, all of the things that you discuss are going to be recorded and transcribed. So it's very easy then to sift and sort and figure out the leads that you talk to. But if you're not, that's okay. Just make sure you leave detailed notes. So here we have a note section, right? So you can go in and put your notes. You just hit the notes and then you can add a new note there. If you think it's a really important note, you can pin it to the top, but that should definitely be there for any lead that you've talked to. What you're also going to do is decide, okay, what should be the next step in my follow-up? If it's a buyer lead and they've come in from a hot list ad of some sort, they've come in because they're requesting access to property, the property updates should absolutely be on. That is an email that is going to include information that they are interested in. This is the daily email that has all of the properties that are newly listed within their criteria. If you're not sure whether or not they are on that property update email, you can check up here at the top. There's an e-plan section, right? You can go to e-plan, see if they're on that property update e-plan. So you'll see it under e-plans here, or you'll see it under e-plan actions. Here on the bottom left, I'm just going to adjust my screen a little bit here. So here in the bottom left, you can look at the saved searches, right, to see what kind of saved search they've got. Anyhow, these are just things that you can quickly check to make sure that they are getting that ongoing communication from you. And then decide, okay, so they're getting the property updates. What else? What else can I send them? What else should I be doing? So when you're sending the property updates, that means you're giving them the opportunity to come back to the site. And when they come back, that is a signal to you to reach out, either through text, email, you can give them a call, of course. That's probably the best thing to do. But if they don't pick up, you can go ahead and send them a text message based on the fact that they've been back on your website looking at property. So we have some plans that are already there for you to use for this purpose. So in the ReEngage CRM drop-down menu, if you go down to the Action Plans Manager, I've already activated this, but you can go into the library, okay? So under Action Plan Library, you'll see we have all sorts of plans for returning leads or non-responsive leads and remarketing stuff. So this one, the returning leads for property updates, this is something that you can go ahead and activate for someone who is returning to look at property updates. So I can show you what this looks like. In the action plans, right, we have that here, view and edit. So this is what we're going to send. They're text messages and an email. So we have 2 text messages, 1 email. Okay, that's it. 3 messages. They all go out within 5 minutes of each other. So if I go back into that, I can actually take a look at an example of this. What's nice is when you assign these plans to the leads within the ReEngage, it will give you some tracking data here. It'll tell you the engagement rate. That means anyone who's replied to that message, you'll be able to see that here. But you'll also be able to see that in your notifications. And if you're using Stay in Contact, you will be notified when people reply to your messages. So if you're worried about missing those text messages that are coming in, I would strongly recommend you install the Stay in Contact app and we make sure that that is active for you, because that is one of the best ways to monitor any incoming communications that are happening as a result of your marketing efforts. So I'll just take a look at this one here. We can see that we've got 1 lead. I'm going to look at that lead record, and Another thing that you want to keep an eye on is this conversation view. This is a full timeline record of all of the communication, all the actions, everything that has transpired with this lead will be in this conversation. This is remarketing, guys, okay? When you are continually touching, reaching out, trying to get in front of that lead, that is remarketing, okay? It's not about fancy scripts, fancy advertising. It really is, it's this simple. You just have to have some messaging that is ready to go out, and you have to have a few reasons to reach out as well, right? This isn't random. So going back to this plan of sending to somebody who is coming in from a property update, the plan is essentially it's gone out, right? I can see that the text message went out. I can see that the person replied, right? So they're communicating, they're engaging. Now is the opportunity to reach out and try to solidify this connection. Texting is a great way to start the conversation, but it is not the best way to build rapport and to gain trust. A phone call, someone hearing your voice, even meeting in person is the best, right? You can't beat that for making a connection and gaining trust with somebody. But having a phone conversation can definitely go a long way to doing that. It can just accelerate the whole conversion process. So the more people you get on the phone, the better. And that's a big goal with the remarketing strategy as well. So let's say we have this plan in place and I want to activate it, right? So here on the right-hand side, I have my action plans, and then I can go in and select the one that I want to send. So if I want to send ReEngage for property updates, I can go ahead and send that. Now, one thing I will mention is if you are using email as part of your strategy, which you absolutely should be doing, you have to make sure your email is connected to the platform. I can't stress this enough. And even if you've connected it in the past, if you've reset your password along the way, that's going to disrupt the connection with the CRM. So make sure that you've got your email connected. And when you're looking at these action plans, you may see sometimes that the action is red. Sometimes it will tell you that the email couldn't be delivered or the text message couldn't be delivered. Keep an eye on that, because if the text message was not delivered, then that means that the phone number that you're sending to cannot receive those messages. And it could be that it's a bad phone number. It could be it's a landline and they don't accept text messages. Who knows? But that's the reason why a text will not be delivered. Email will not be delivered if, one, your email is not properly connected to the platform, and then two, the email that you're sending to is just not receiving it. Maybe it's a bad email. Maybe the emails are bouncing back. Who knows? And then I'll throw in a third. And the third is if somebody has revoked their consent. They've unsubscribed. They've decided to remove themselves from the list. You can always take a look at your consent status here for the leads, right? To determine if they do in fact have consent. But that's another reason why people may not receive your emails. But that will all be covered within the system. The system will not be able to send anything to somebody who has revoked their consent. So back to the email topic, and I see that Deanne was in that category today, maybe, the email issue. In your settings, okay, you have to go up to your settings menu and then click on email settings. That's where you're going to see that your email is connected. So here I can see I do have an email. It is connected. That's all good. I should be able to send emails to my leads from the platform, no problem. If you don't see it connected, or if you see that it's just blank and it's asking you for it to start that connection, then you've got to go through that process. It's not difficult, but you do have to go through it to make sure that those emails go out, right? Another issue that you're going to want to pay close attention to, this did come up with one of the consultations I did yesterday, is if you are a part of a team, okay, let's say you're the team lead and this is your system, right? This is your platform, you're paying for it, but you've got other people on your team who you want to be helping out with the follow-up and whatnot. So every lead has a primary owner. And what that means is Engage is looking at that primary owner as being the one who is sending out the messaging. So that means the primary owner is the one who's going to be sending out the text messages and also sending out the emails. So when you remove yourself as the primary owner, now you are essentially assigning somebody else as a primary owner. And if their email is not connected, and if they don't have a phone number that is connected to the system, that's going to interfere with the follow-up, okay? That's going to definitely cause a disruption or a stoppage in those messages going out, because the primary owner has to be the one who is sending out that communication. We cannot mix up where those messages are coming from. So that's really, really important. So if you are one of those people who maybe is on a team and you're responsible for doing some of the follow-up, but you don't want to be the one who is, having to monitor their email or be connected to the automated action plans and things that are going out, you can assign yourself as a user, right? You're just not the primary. So when you assign another user to a lead, that means they can see the lead, they can follow up with the lead, they can call the lead, they can leave their notes, whatever you want them to do. It's just they're not the primary, okay? So the communication that goes out as part of your remarketing, retargeting, that will be from the primary owner of the lead, okay? So that's really, really important. And I will also say that when it comes to action plans and your remarketing, retargeting, you do want to think about the content, right? What you're sending out. So the example that I just gave with the property updates, that's where you're responding to something that's happened. You're responding to an action that was taken by the lead. They went in, they looked at a property, you're responding to that. There are going to be remarketing opportunities where you're not really responding to anything. Maybe you just are following up because you've set an action for yourself to do that. So another item that I would do, or another step that I would take when you talk to that lead, is to set a callback date so that you have a reminder in your calendar that you need to follow up with this person. So when you have that, okay, let's say I'm going to mark this person as talk to lead. So I've talked to the lead. They're not quite ready to work with me. Okay, that's fine. I've got them on the Home Market Watch newsletter. Again, that's another plan that you can put people on. Okay, under e-plans, we've got newsletters. Quickly, I'm going to explain something here because there is a difference in the type of email communication that we're sending out. I know I'm talking very quickly and we probably are going to go over 30 minutes. Okay, I'll tell you that right now. I don't have a hard stop here at 4, and I think it's going to go a little bit longer because it's important for me to explain some of these things. The e-plans are emails that are sent out through the system. So they're not something that goes out from your personal email that is connected to the platform. It's what we call one-to-one campaign messaging. So when you are communicating with your database, You're either doing it one-to-one or one-to-many. So you can use remarketing in both instances, but as far as the one-to-many is concerned, that's always going to be remarketing. The one-to-one may just be either personal communication, new lead follow-up, things that you are automatically going to do when a new lead comes into your system, right? That's one-to-one. So with the e-plans, this is still one-to-one campaign messaging, and it goes out from the system. So that means we use our proprietary email sending system to send them those emails. Now, there's a few different categories in here in the e-plans. There are the drip campaigns. Okay, this is a series of email drip campaigns that you can assign to your leads, and they usually last for anywhere from, I'd say, maybe 4 to 8 weeks. So the seller follow-up plan, buyer seller follow-up plan, that's a series of emails that are going to be sent out every couple days. They are all about content and sharing content and things like that. You can take a look at them in your follow-up e-plans here. But one thing you do not want to do is check all of them off. Because when you do that, and for one, the system will not allow you to do that because that can cause other issues with the email, the sending process that we use. But that would essentially enable the system to be sending multiple emails a day out to the same person. So there is a balance between being an absolute annoying pest and being very strategic and timely with your follow-up. You don't want to be sending multiple messages to somebody every day. That's a great way to get yourself off their email list, right? Or get someone to unsubscribe. So let's say you want to have a couple of different things happening with the lead as far as email is concerned. What I would recommend is you choose one of these e-plans. Okay, buyer, seller, whatever it is. Take a look at the plans and figure out which one. I'd say like the CP, the Craig Proctor buyer plans, perfectly fine. If you think that this may be a buyer seller, you can do both. So you can check off one of these. Okay, one of these drip campaigns. Now, the newsletter is a monthly email that will go out automatically. So if somebody's on that, they will receive a monthly email from you that links to your newsletter landing page. And there's nothing you need to do with that other than just activate it and it goes out. So that's a monthly one that just is on repeat indefinitely until somebody unsubscribes or you decide to deactivate it. And then the property updates are also perpetual, okay? They will continue to go out as long as somebody is subscribed, as long as they are actively coming back and looking at properties. There is sort of a shelf life to the property updates. If we don't see any activity whatsoever over a period of weeks or months, chances are those emails will not continue to go out. But if somebody is opening them and they are active, they will continue to go out. So this is a daily email that goes out, and it's dynamic. It will include content that is dynamic. So new homes, updated hot lists, things like that. That's the property updates. Okay, so hopefully that's clear. So all of these emails, okay, just so you know, they're not included in any usage package that you have. If you have ReEngage and you have like a certain number of text messages or emails that you can send, calls that you can make, because there are limitations in terms of these things. There are hard costs associated with calling and texting. These emails and these e-plans do not fall into that category. So this communication is just all included in your platform. So you really should be using it, but don't abuse it, okay? Use it the way it's designed to be used. So that means newsletter, yep, you can have them on that. Property updates, yep, have them on that. And then just pick one of these e-plans for those leads, okay? And they'll all be sent out from the system. Now, action plans are a different type of communication plan. And these are also designed for one-to-one communication, but you can also use them for one-to-many. You can also use them as a way to send out information en masse to a large group of leads. So that is where we can create, I'll go back into my action plans manager. We can create a plan that includes email, text message, ringless voicemail, and also some tasks and things like that. But for instance, let's say you've got a new listing and you want to promote that listing to your database. That would be the example of a one-to-many type communication. Also falls into the remarketing category because you are marketing again to your database, to your list. And then, we would have a plan that talks about the listing or talks about coming soon property or whatever it is that you're looking to market, that you're looking to advertise. And once that plan is created, right, we could go into a larger group of leads, all of them, perhaps. We could select all, and then we could go ahead and assign a specific action plan to those leads. And in this case, maybe we would choose, well, I've got a re-engagement plan. What does that look like? Oh, it looks like it's not something that I did not complete. So, I mean, it could be as simple as an email, a single email, where you're just sharing some content that you posted on your blog, okay? It could be a holiday message that you're sending out. It could be a new listing that you're advertising. So part of this exercise when it comes to remarketing is thinking about content and thinking about what you're going to be sharing with your audience this month. Okay, so maybe there's a new listing, maybe there's a monthly newsletter, there should be a monthly newsletter, perhaps there's an event happening, maybe there's a rate drop that's happening, maybe you want to emphasize a new vendor that you are partnering up with, right? So you should have a calendar that you are planning every month the type of content you're going to want to share with your audience. That's a huge, huge part of the remarketing strategy. And then once you have that content, we can help you broadcast it, get it out, execute that one-to-many type campaign that that you can absolutely do within here, right? It's just a question of maybe getting it out to the right people, and of course, giving them a call to action as well. So when you are sending out a message to a large group, you really should have a call to action that requires them to come back to your website, because that again sends you a signal. This person has come back to the site. Maybe it's time to reach out again and try to engage with them and call them. So that is that's really, really important, is to think about the content that you're sharing and how are we bringing people back to the website, and what are we asking them to do? Are we asking them to, to share information with us? Are we asking them to set up their own property search? Are we asking them to watch a video? There's all sorts of things that you can ask for them to do, or encourage them to do, right? So these are just a few tips to get you guys thinking about how you want to get more out of your database. It's really, really important. And you have to look at your database as an asset. There, I can't tell you how many clients we've generated from our list, right? From our the list of people that we've acquired over the years. We always tap into that. We always communicate with that list. That's how we generate most of our new business. It's not from generating new leads, it's from going to people who are already familiar with us and letting them know that we still are here. We've got lots to offer. Here are some of the things that we're doing, sharing information, sharing content, sharing video. We do all of that, and we do that primarily to our email list. But there are other ways that you can use Google and Facebook for retargeting as well. You can pay to have Google and Facebook advertise to people who are from your database. That's definitely something you can do, and we can help you with that as well. So I hope you found this useful. Of course, we have been recording it. We're going to post it on our Jumpstart page. And if you do need to reach out to us and get some help with this, we're more than happy to schedule additional training for you and your team. So I'm going to ask Sylvia to just put in our Success Webcare link. successwebcare.com is where you can go to access your command center, access the Jumpstart Learning Center. Oops, I'm just going to go Success Webcare, and our support team. So if you want to book a callback, or you want to book a consultation, or you just want to reach out and let us know that you're interested in learning more about remarketing or using your CRM, you can text us. Text us at our support line, 657-227-0070. And there are a couple of key things that I mentioned today. One being segmenting your list to make sure that anyone that you've talked to or met with, they have that special status connected to their lead record. Make your notes, set your callback dates, make sure they're on the necessary e-plans. Come up with content that you are going to use as a way to connect with your audience every month, and use the Stay in Contact app to monitor any returning leads or people who are texting you back as a result of your remarketing efforts. Okay, a lot. We went through a lot, but you know what? You guys can handle it. So we're going to wrap it there, and we will be back next week with some of our agent secrets content. We're going to get more in depth. We're going to have an hour session next week, so stay tuned for that. And I thank you all for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful day.